Welcome back to another episode of Get the Guac. I'm excited because today joining me is Gio from the very, very popular Facebook group WBEL-AIR. So let's get right into it. So I'm excited for today's episode because joining me is Gio from WBEL-AIR. Gio, you wear many hats.
Yes.
So you recently retired from the Baltimore County Police Department.
Yep.
You are a very big part of WBEL-AIR, which has how many followers on Facebook?
Right now we're a little bit over 35,000.
35,000.
Yep.
That's crazy. Because I remember we connected years ago, and I think it was maybe at 19 or 20.
Probably, yep.
Not that long ago, so tremendous growth. Also the owner of Fire and Ice Delights.
Yes.
The ice cream truck.
Ice cream
we'll call
truck,
it.
yeah. It's a little miniature fire truck that's an ice cream truck that doesn't look like an ice cream truck kind of thing. Yep.
I love it. We'll talk more about that, but I'm very excited to have you here. So recently, big change for you. You retired from a career in law enforcement.
Right.
How has retirement been for you so far?
Honestly, I'm busier now than I've ever been.
Isn't that funny? I hear that so often. I
Yeah.
just get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
But it's the busy doing things that doesn't feel like you're busy, or the, not to put words in your mouth, but what I'll hear is I feel like I'm busier, but I'm doing things I enjoy.
Yeah.
So it's the good kind of busy.
There's truth to that. What I did was, I retired on November 1st, and then on November 4th, I stepped into another full-time career.
Right.
So I now help provide law enforcement safety and wellness to officers across the country.
Right.
As my full-time job.
Yeah.
And then, as you mentioned, I have WBEL-AIR TV News and Fire and Ice Delights. And my other full-time job is being a father of 3. So,
right.
Kind of like you, very busy.
Just running around.
Yep, lots of hats.
Do you ever get quiet time?
Not really.
Yeah.
The only time, and this has been very weird for my wife and I, the only time we get quiet time is when the kids are at band rehearsal, band or drama rehearsal.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of like empty nesting because our oldest is working on her master's, and she's out of the house. And
So you get like a couple of hours every few nights?
But we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, right.
We're still trying to figure that out. It's new.
We send our 3 to Awana, which is a church program on Wednesday nights, and we're like, man, we've got an hour and a half. What can we do? We just end up sitting in a dark room, like scrolling on our phones in silence because we never really get to do that.
As long as you're scrolling and you're watching WBL, that's cool.
Just going through all the latest WBEL-AIR posts. What's something else, I guess, given your law enforcement background, what advice would you give to other soon-to-be retiring law enforcement for how that they can go through the transition successfully?
That's an awesome question because, honestly, it's one of the most overlooked. Obviously, you're a financial planner, retirement planner, and that's the money part of it. What people don't plan on is how they're going to transition from law enforcement to regular civilian life. Like, how are you going to be able to disengage? How are you going to be able to go out in public and not feel the stress of always watching out for everything, for everybody?
Right.
And then how are you going to spend your time? Because in law enforcement, it's usually more than a typical 40-hour week. It's sometimes 50, 60, 80 hours with overtime and special events and details and parades and community events.
Right.
Like, what are you going to do in your downtime? How are you going to spend it healthily? Like, how do you then also fill that need that you've served the whole time of, like, serving a purpose in your community? Right. So my suggestion is, 1, stop doing enforcement before you retire because you need to not be summoned to court after you retire.
Right.
Start looking at how you're going to spend your time, make lists of hobbies, get into hobbies and doing things that fulfill you and make you happy. That's the key.
Right.
So
I always try to explain retirement as kind of a very classy all-you-can-eat buffet. I think some people, they have this sense of permanency with decisions where when I retire, I'm going to go get that boat and I'm going to go fishing. But then you get out on the water and it's great for a while and then it isn't anymore, and then you feel like, oh my gosh, I failed because the one thing I thought I was going to do really isn't bringing me as much joy as I thought. But it isn't like that. You got a whole buffet of activities. You go load your plate up with a couple of different things, and if you don't like it, leave it.
Right.
And go back up and find something else. So the process of finding what you really want to do can be part of it.
Right. And that's why I always suggest also is that try sampling that buffet before you retire.
Right.
So if you think that you're going to retire from any career as a first responder, military, law enforcement, something that is very rigid, structured, uniformed, you then have to transfer into what are you going to wear. But try out different jobs. Like if you think you're going to go into bartending, well, go get a part-time job now while you can,
Right.
and test it out. If you think you're just going to go and be a greeter at Walmart or Home Depot or something like that, try it out, because otherwise you will find the world is very different outside, especially out of law enforcement.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot of changes.
Yeah. So get ahead of it, not behind it.
100%.
Yep. All right, let's talk about, you mentioned community. You're a big Bel-Air community guy. Tell me a little bit about how you came to Bel-Air and why Bel-Air is so special to you.
All right. So I'm originally from New York, and the town that I came from is aesthetically very much like Bel-Air. It's got a main street.
Yep.
When I first moved here from New York, I had no idea where I was going to live. I had a very short opportunity to pick where I was going to live before I started the police academy. And long story short, I rented a townhouse in Perry Hall for a couple of years, and then I bought a home in Essex for a couple of years. And then when my wife and our daughter was becoming school age, we heard good things about the Bel-Air community,
Right.
the aesthetic, the vibe, the tree-lined streets, the
Family.
main street, really family-oriented. So we took a leap of faith and came up here, and honestly haven't been disappointed.
Do any of your kids, I know some are younger, but do they say Bel-Air's boring, they want to go someplace exciting afterwards, or do you think they might come back for a period of time when school's done?
Another great question, because actually that's part of the reason why I do what I do as far as championing Harford County and Bel-Air.
Yeah.
I have 3 horses in this race, right? I want the kids to love Bel-Air and Harford County.
Yep.
Because if they love it, then I don't have to go, when they're grown, I don't have to
Right.
go chasing them all around the country to go visit them, right?
Right.
If they settle and we keep our roots here, then, you know, honestly, life is a little bit easier for me. I already know plenty of people. I know where to eat. I know, you know, where to go.
Yeah.
So part of what I do is try to, you know, highlight the good things that are going on
Right.
in the community and promote them, and then get more people out, because the community vibe around here is super strong.
Right.
And you've seen it with your 4th of July events, and
That's right.
you know, the Christmas parades, and just the farmers market. There's just so many things going on everywhere. So
Yeah, I told my kids that they have to come back. We'll see if they don't usually listen to me anyway, so
Right.
probably not when they're teenagers either. But I remember, so I went to local middle school and high school in the county, and it was kind of 50-50, where people were like, no, this is home, I love it. And the other half were like, this is too quiet, or XYZ, like I need to go out. I never had a draw to the city, or, you know, leaving
Right.
friends and family and things like that. I can understand it for some, but
oh, I will say the only thing that will pull me away from this area is I can't handle the cold. So
Yeah.
I may snowbird. I may, you know, look into the Carolinas or something like that. But this is where I feel at home.
this is where the roots
Yeah.
are. So big community guy, tell me about WBEL-AIR and how that came to be. How did that start?
All right. So it started as a complete spoof. I was just being me.
Right.
Real name is George, right? But my Italian name is Giorgio, and Gio was my nickname.
Yeah.
But I was out, well, actually, before I ever did the Main Street weather video, that was the first, like, kind of really big viral video that I did.
Right.
I was driving my daughter to dance class one day, and as we're going up 24 near Marketplace by Target and Home Depot, I see a flashing road sign, and as it came into focus, I was like, oh, I'm like, maybe it's a DWI checkpoint or a heroin checkpoint, something, because that's what they were doing at that time. You know, they were doing a lot of enforcement, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And as I get up closer to the sign, it says, please report handicap parking violations, right?
Right.
And not to make light of the situation in Baltimore City where they're averaging 300 homicides a year, but I was like, man, what a great place to live. That this is the sheriffs and the state police. This is their biggest concern
This is where
right
the
now,
resources
right?
are allocated.
And
This is the
listen,
top concern.
I feel that handicap parking is very important, and I
Right.
think it's a sacred space for the people that need it, and it shouldn't be violated, right? But to put it in perspective, that just 8 miles down the road or 12 miles down the road, you have horrible things going on, and this
Right.
is the focus of law enforcement in our community.
Right.
So I dropped my daughter off at dance. I had a Post-it note that was in the shape of a W, and my mother-in-law actually thought that the Post-it notes were M's, and she bought them for us, and we're like, Ma, it's really W.
Right,
So
okay.
I actually then turned a microphone and a Post-it note into the beginning of WBEL-AIR TV News, live, local, and at the time it was fake making, live, local, and fake making.
Right.
Because it rhymes with the WBAL, live, local, late breaking.
Yeah.
But so I did a funny video in front of the sign. I had flashing red and blue lights, and people enjoyed it. And then about a couple weeks later, we're in January, and I was out on Main Street.
Yeah.
And I was mocking up a weather report on Main Street.
Yep.
And with my best friend, Chris, was my cameraman, and we were out there, and as I'm hyping up the storm that really wasn't, there was like a dusting.
Right.
You know, some cars came.
It was supposed to be Snowmageddon.
Right,
It's kinda
Snowmageddon.
dusting.
And so then I just started interviewing people, and like we had like 300 views, and I was like, oh my God, 300 views,
Yeah,
that's
that's
crazy. And then we went back into the bar where we were at, and all of a sudden it was like 1,400 views, and then
Yeah.
3,200 views, and then 4,000 views. And there was a guy at the bar that night who asked me, he says, hey, do you have a page? He's like, you're hilarious. So I was like, well, my wife doesn't think so, but
Right.
if you do, that's cool.
Of course.
And he's like, you should have a page. I'm like, I'm in law enforcement right now. I got to kind of keep it low.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I had just put a public video out there, so I was rolling the dice anyway.
Right.
But the next morning, we had I was like 24,000 views just as my personal page going public.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh boy, this is going to backfire. But the guy at the bar, the magic bartender, sent me a link to Facebook and said, hey, I created a page for you. Here's the admin codes. Have fun with it. And from that day on, we had the page. But that wasn't, because I was active in law enforcement, I didn't
You
want
had
to
to be
lose my
careful.
job. I had to be very careful. I laid very low. I didn't really push too hard on it.
Right.
But
And you wanted that, firewall separated
Right.
too, right?
But there was a day I remember I was sitting reading the comments and the reactions, and we posted something funny on there, and I saw that 100 people laughed, and I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
100 people laughed at this. I'm like,
Yeah.
what if I could just make 100 people a day laugh or smile?
Right.
And that was when we changed from live, local, and fake making to live, local, and fun making. And when we realized that mainstream media does a lot to divide communities, it does
Right.
a lot they show you things that are going to scare you, fear you, or things you just don't want to focus on.
Right.
I'm like, could a news or media entertainment page focus just on good news, and would people watch it?
Right.
Because it's not a dumpster fire, because it's not a train wreck.
Right.
Unfortunately, people tend to gravitate towards that.
Yep.
Anything with flashing lights or flames or police tape, you're
Yep.
getting a million views.
Yeah.
But those aren't the views I really want.
Right.
I want the things like we talked about.
There's plenty of places people can go to get that, worst part
Oh,
that,
Yeah.
the world has to offer.
And sometimes people will private message me and they're like, hey, Gio, how come you didn't cover this or that? And I'm like, well, you know about it, right? And I'm like, so you've already seen it.
Yeah.
Why do you need me to cover that?
Yeah.
I want to focus on the good stuff. So if you want bad news, by all means, go to anywhere else to find it.
Right.
But if you're looking for fun news or what to do this weekend or what's coming up or what's good, then come check us out.
Yeah. How many hours a day do you have screen time?
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah. Not
But
well.
it's kind of part of the job.
Yeah,
But
yeah, not well. Obviously, not while I'm working. But I do sometimes feel bad on the family side of times where,
Yeah.
kind of like you said, in those moments of free time, definitely in the morning as soon as I wake up, I'm checking to see what am I going to post. A
Yeah.
lot of times, what I do is I also schedule posts throughout the day. So the day before, I'll say, okay, at 11:13 a.m. I'm going to post this.
Yeah.
And because then it comes out randomly,
Right.
and that helps keep the algorithm going and whatever else. So we'll schedule posts out in advance. But yeah, there's a lot of time on my screen checking stuff out. And the other thing I like to kind of pride myself is we're very interactive with our followers. Like I feel like we have a personal relationship with our followers because they respect what we do, and a lot of the people that follow our page, they get the vibe. you know, a lot of times I'll put, hey, we're going to do this, no politics, no this or that, right?
Right.
Like,
I was shocked. There was one recently. What was it?
what's a cult that's not a cult?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I went right to the comment section. I was surprised. I was like, all right, everybody kind of kept it together.
I only had to delete one comment, and it was a mild comment, but I didn't want it to take off.
Right.
So, and I
Which
generally
I think is pretty impressive, especially given the state of everything
yeah,
in the world.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think once people follow our page, they get the vibe that, oh, if I post something controversial, it's not going to last. And the thing is, I don't even really have to police the page.
The page polices itself.
Yeah, the viewers. The viewers will go and be like, hey, that's not the vibe here, you know.
Right.
So, and then some people will see themselves out. But I've also invited people to unfollow, because for me it's not about the number of followers. Like I could easily have 1 million followers if I wanted, if I changed the content and I made it controversial,
right,
or I showed the things that people don't need to see.
Right.
But I don't do that. For me, if I have 35,000 people from this local area and they're going to come out and use the businesses that we're spotlighting, if they're going to enjoy the venues like the live music and the arts and entertainment that we have going on, come all day. You know, those are the people we want.
Quality only.
Yeah.
What when you first started filming in public, was it awkward?
I don't know. It honestly kind of came natural. Like I had no reservations or fear about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing I was worried about was who at work was going to be watching me. Like in the police department. I knew like my first 1,000 or 2,000 followers were other cops just waiting for me to mess up. You know. But luckily I made it through.
And what would they say back at work when they were like, oh, you know, gee,
well, it was funny because in the end of my career, I worked in the headquarters building, and it's an 11-story building, so every day was an elevator ride if I didn't take the stairs. And some days people would get in the elevator with me, they look at me and they're like, you know, like they would just laugh. Or some of them, you know, kind of like you, they would mention a post that I did, and they're like, oh my God, dude, that was hilarious, or whatever. So, yeah. What
is, if you can remember, something crazy people yell at you or say in passing as you're filming and they're like driving by and they recognize you?
So actually I was right behind your studio here at Harford Retirement Planners. I was right in front of WBEL-AIR High School, and I was doing, I think it was a back to school report, and it was early on in the WBEL days, and somebody came by and goes, Gio for mayor, and I was like, oh, there's an idea.
Oh no. Put one more thing on the plate.
Yeah. But the funny thing was, at the time, somebody had investigated whether I lived within town limits or not, to see if I was using this platform as to one day run for office. And I currently have no aspirations of running for office. But I could be tempted for county council, maybe.
Maybe.
Know. Not the mayor of WBEL-AIR, though.
I mean, you really have to be passionate about the cause, because there's so much stuff that comes with it.
Right. I also don't want to get put in a position where I have to take sides that are going to affect other people, you know, unnecessarily or in a negative way. But you know, with WBL, I can help shape the community by pushing out the good things, and I have no obligations really to anybody, other than to myself and the followers that want the good stuff.
I think one of the cool success stories that I've seen from WBEL-AIR is the Abingdon Grill.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
So, the Abingdon Grill was one of these locations on Constant Friendship Boulevard or Road, that you'd pass by, and for several years it had some unsuccessful businesses. It's just in a very awkward, tucked away spot that just doesn't get a lot of traffic unless you're going to BJ's. And my wife and I were going to BJ's one day, and we were like, is that place even open? Like, it didn't even look open. So one day after I retired, I had a lunch break, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to actually go out. I'm going to grab my order from BJ's real fast. I'm going to stop in. I want to look at their menu. And when I went in there, there was a handful of people in the restaurant, but the host, I asked him, I said, hey, can I see your menu? And he's like, yeah. And I said, is there anything here that you recommend? He goes, honestly, he's like, I love everything here. The food quality is really good. And it was like the first time I actually went to a place where the employee spoke highly about the place. Like he took like personal pride in the ownership. And I said,
That's cool.
Are you like a manager here? And he goes, no. He goes, I'm a host and server here. And he goes, but really, everything is really good here. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to go pick up my order. I'm going to come back and eat.
Right.
So I went there, and my father, when he immigrated from Italy, he owned a restaurant. And I understood the struggles of what it takes to run a restaurant. My family owns restaurants in Italy. I worked in restaurants growing up, so like I have a soft spot for servers and restaurant industry.
Sure.
So anyway, the owner came out to meet me. He had no idea that I was WBEL or anything. I was just an average customer.
You don't introduce yourself. I'm Gio from WBEL-AIR.
Nope. And
I wouldn't expect you to.
Yeah, no, and but he came out and he asked me how I was doing, and he told me about the meal, and I ordered a Reuben, and it was a Reuben. It was like your classic Reuben, but it had an extra type of cheese in there. It was like this creamy cheese in it, and it just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
And he said, "Did you enjoy that?" I said, "This was like flavor to the next level, and it was thick. I couldn't even eat the whole thing. I actually took the other half home." And I ordered sweet potato fries. I always order sweet potato fries. But the server was like, "Have you had our house fries?" And I said, "No." And he's like, "Well, I'm going to throw some house fries in here too so you get to taste them." They were crispy on the outside, tender on the inside. I was like, "Damn, these are good fries too."
Yeah.
But the owner told me about his wife. She wanted the restaurant. He used to be in realty, but then got into the restaurant business. And his wife runs the kitchen, and they have some head chefs and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it was just one of those moments where this guy had no idea who I was or anything.
Yeah, just connecting. He's passionate about his business. You're excited for it.
When I went to leave, he said, "Your lunch is on me," and I was like, "Well, that's strange."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "You don't have to do that." He goes, "No." He goes, "I enjoyed our conversation," and I was like, "Okay." Well, so I didn't post anything about it. I didn't go there to post something. I just really went for lunch to get the experience. But the food was really good.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks later, I was in Florida for work. I'm sitting in my hotel room and I had nothing else to do. And I'm like, you know what? That guy was so nice. The food was so good. And he told me, he goes, "You don't see updates in my restaurant." He goes, "Because I put all my money towards quality food." He goes, "I don't buy the cheap stuff." He goes, "I buy the best quality food," which having that meal there, I could tell it was quality food.
Right.
I said, "I'm going to do a post." And then I did the post. And they went from this sleepy little restaurant to then having 45-minute to an hour wait.
Right.
And all these other people were like, "Damn, Gio, you just ruined our spot."
Right.
You know?
That was our little hidden gem.
But they're doing very well.
Yeah.
And people, that post took off. I mean, hundreds of thousands of people literally saw that post. And out of all the comments, none were negative. And I'm like, that's just an affirmation, like, because people are tough on the food industry.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Well, and that's the tough thing, too, because people are so quick to go online and complain. Mm-hmm. Not add context or just blah, and then everyone piles on. Right. And it's very rare and refreshing when you do get a positive thing. Mm-hmm. Now, what an impact it made on the business, and not just the owners of the business, but the servers now are making more tips, and they're busier. Security, because it is such a tough industry, the restaurant industry, but now the cooks, with more volume going through, the job security, that's got to feel great.
It does. Honestly, I have goosebumps. I'm an emotional guy, but like to see how well they did, and the fact that people affirmed that it's really good food, and they survived through COVID too, and that was another thing that stuck out because we lost a lot of businesses, and a lot of businesses changed after COVID. Yep. But they not only survived through it, they were able to thrive on it, and now they're doing really well.
Yeah, what a cool story. So let's shift gears a little bit. We mentioned earlier that you are the proprietor of Fire and Ice Delights, the ice cream truck. Mm-hmm. Tell me about the truck first, and then where that idea. Yeah, kind of it all ties together. So what's the origin story?
So there's a little backstory, yet another hat that I wore in my life. Prior to becoming a law enforcement officer, I was a firefighter for 5 years on Long Island. And a friend of mine, Serge, had this little truck. It's a 2012 GEM electric vehicle. Okay. And he ran it as an ice cream truck on Shelter Island in New York. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, Serge passed away colon cancer at 36. And left the business and 3 children behind. And another friend of mine in the fire department, Tom, then purchased this truck from Serge's family. and then they changed the aesthetic of the truck and turned it into a little miniature fire truck.
What was it before?
Before it was just a white truck.
Okay.
So it was what you see today, but just a plain, all white,
Yep.
white little stake body truck. And they transformed it into this little miniature fire truck to look like the fire trucks at the Rockville Center Fire Department.
Right.
And they used it as a community fundraising vehicle. So they did special events and stuff, and they were able to raise thousands of dollars with the truck. And there's a sticker on the back that says, "In loving memory of Serge De Benedetto." There's also a 9/11 tribute on the back, which I kept those items on the truck to honor Serge, his legacy, and then for everybody who served and that we lost at 9/11 as well. And so I always wanted to open up an ice cream shop on Main Street.
Right.
I didn't have the capital to do it.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what's the next best thing? Maybe I start a little ice cream truck business. So I called my buddy Tom. I'm like, hey, tell me about the truck. And he goes, hey, he's like, actually, he's like, do you want to buy it? Because the guys are a little tired of running it on top of volunteering and their
years,
jobs.
right,
yeah.
at least.
So they'd been running it for a while, and he made me an offer. And I was like, I think I can make that work.
Yep.
So I bought it, and I changed it from Reliance Hose Company number 3 to Fire and Ice Delights. And now we do birthday parties, local events, school events. We're licensed, insured.
4th of July parade parties.
Yeah, 4th of July parade parties here at the wonderful Harford Retirement Planners. And yeah, it's a cool little conversation piece. It's great for my kids. My son loves working on the truck. He loves talking with people like me.
I will tell you, my oldest Blake manned the ice cream cart that we had before Fire and Ice, and he's got a bone to pick with you because he had his little tip jar out, and he was the ice cream guy. And I was like, hey, you don't have to do that this year. I thought he'd be happy about it. And he's like, what?
Well,
because he's a little businessman.
So maybe next year we also have a push cart. So maybe we'll bring the push cart, and Blake can work that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. He is, we butt heads sometimes, but then what I'm learning is that we're so similar.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got that entrepreneurial spirit. So they're doing a candy bar fundraiser at school. He's already sold 5 or 6 boxes of them. The other 2, they're not even paying attention. But he'll go out door to door and knock on people that we probably know because they're in our neighborhood. But he'll just knock on the door and say, I'm selling this candy. It's raising money for the school.
Right.
And he's not afraid of it.
No, that's an excellent drive. And you're not alone. I butt heads with my son all the time. Where he is my 2.0.
Yeah.
And, when we butt heads, it's because he's like me.
And it's so funny. I was oblivious to it. And it was probably, my son's 10. And it wasn't until me and him, I don't know, whatever the thing was, and I'm like all frustrated. Jane's like, you do realize you're arguing with a mirror. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, you both are the same, and you're talking the same, and you're arguing the same. And I'm like, oh, you're right.
Right.
I had no idea. So Fire and Ice Delights, so a little bit of a family business. You could bring the kids in, teach them about how business works. I don't think enough parents do that. Teach their kids about just the basics of, well, if I paid $3 for this, bar of chocolate or ice cream bar, do I sell it for 2 or 3, or what do I need to sell it for in order to support the whole operation? Right?
Yeah, and and obviously the opportunity doesn't avail itself, but it does in those small ways, like what school fundraisers and Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, different events. School athletic boosters, music boosters. Those are opportunities, obviously, that you can use with your kids to explain what the value of money is, or how to raise it, or different marketing ideas.
Right.
But yeah, when my kids and their friends come over the house, they think it's free ice cream. But one day my son said, well, my dad does have to pay for the ice cream. And it's not free. I don't get the free ice cream. I have people ask me every day, oh, can I have a free ice cream? I'm like, it's not free. I had to pay for it to get here.
Right.
And then I have business insurance and health inspection insurance and, everything else. I'm like, that one little bar of ice cream actually cost me a lot of money to bring it to somebody.
Right.
But it's a good learning lesson right now.
Right.
So...
Now, you spend over 25 years really helping people in the darkest of times and situations that probably many people would not want to find themselves in. And now you've got the ice cream truck where everybody's smiling, and the worst thing is maybe they drop their ice cream bar on the ground.
Yeah.
how interesting is that transition going from people at their lowest lows to now it's just ice cream?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy because for actually 32 years, because I was an auxiliary police officer for 5 years and a firefighter before I came down here and did all my years in law enforcement, right? So for all the years of my life, I was always, say thanks to the fireman, or say thanks to the policeman, or there's the policeman, he's going to arrest you. And I'm like, don't say that. I'm like, just tell your kid to put the seatbelt on because it's going to save their life, you know?
Right.
Like,
maybe don't argue, just kind of
right,
follow
yeah,
the rules.
right. Just do the right thing and you have nothing to worry about. But one day I was working the ice cream truck with my son, and somebody said, there's the ice cream man, or say thank you to the ice cream man. And I'm like, that's me.
Yeah.
I'm now the ice cream man. And I'm like, so all the things I've done in my life, saving lives, risking mine, and all the other things, and now I'm the ice cream man. And it's so weird and so different.
Now people are running to you with smiles on their face rather than running from you with the fear of facing accountability for what they might have done. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. What's next for Geo?
So I'm going to hopefully continue my full-time work. I do a lot of work with suicide awareness and prevention in my job, so I'm very passionate about that. I lost a lot of friends throughout my career to suicide, and it's a problem across the nation.
Is that more specifically in law enforcement, first responders?
Yeah, actually, the number one killer of law enforcement in the United States is suicide.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm on a mission with my team to prevent that and reduce the stigma of asking for help, and actually embrace it and tell people how brave it is and strong it is to get help.
Right.
And I will tell you, as a retired police officer, I would work with an officer who got help any day versus one that didn't.
Is that part of the stigma?
Yeah, I think, people, because historically, if you said that you were struggling or you had a hard time, it was, they would perceive you as weak, or you could get suspended or lose your gun and then your livelihood. But the problem is there are struggles that everybody has in their regular life. Mm-hmm. But then when you compound that with everybody else's problems, it weighs on your heart and your soul, and it can get stuck in your mind. But there are very healthy ways to mitigate the law enforcement job, any first responder job, really. Firefighters, EMS, military, nurses, even doctors, right? They're under tremendous amounts of pressure. But there were unhealthy coping mechanisms in place for many years, and that's traditionally what people went to. But now we're pushing people towards the holistic approach about eating right, getting enough sleep, asking for help, getting help.
Right.
There's a phrase that kind of drives me crazy until it's changed. It's okay not to be okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is okay not to be okay because you're human, but it's not okay to stay that way. You have to get help.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might feel like you're in your deepest, darkest moment, but that is temporary. That situation will change. It's just very hard to see your way out of it at that moment.
Yeah.
So we're trying to encourage people that reach out and don't be afraid to ask for help and to ask questions and lean on a trusted colleague or friend or professional to get yourself out of that hole. I think for Geo and WBEL, really ramping up the coverage that we're doing.
Is it hard not to get burnt out?
It is, but that because I'm focusing on good news, it's almost like burnout prevention because it is a hobby that I enjoy.
Right.
I love connecting with people. I love hearing their stories, kind of like what you're doing here today. Like, you're getting to talk with people and it's
Would
people.
It be fair to call you Curious George?
Yes, I'm very curious, George. We might have to change it now from Geo just to Curious George. But no, I am curious and I want to know people's successes, but I will tell you one of the addictions I have is watching people succeed.
Yeah.
If I'm able to use our platform in any way to help boost somebody up and then watch them succeed, like Sophia from Honest Breads, yesterday she just hit 2,000 followers.
Yeah.
In her small cottage business, that's tremendous.
It's huge.
2,000, because those are all potential customers. And then she's donating money back to World Central Kitchen. And so it's like one of these pay it forward kind of things, and you're just watching the community grow and enjoy something local.
Yeah. And kudos to you for sticking with the positivity and not going to the dark side of the doom and gloom, which obviously it's like Is something in your medicine cabinet secretly killing you? Find out at 11. It's
Right.
like, oh my
right.
gosh, we have enough of that. Yeah. All right. Well, as we wrap things up, Gio, I do have rapid fire questions.
Okay.
All right. So I have not covered these with you, but here we go, in no particular order.
Okay.
What is the best ice cream, in your opinion, at Fire and Ice Delights?
Ooh. Okay. My personal favorite, chocolate chip cookie sandwich.
All right. And what sells the most?
SpongeBob and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do the kids complain when the eyes are like this?
Actually, I have to
older?
say, our SpongeBobs have 20/20 vision. Their eyes are very good.
Yeah?
Yeah. I always tell people, check the eyes, check the eyes.
Check the eyes.
We have very consistently centered eyes. They're good.
If you didn't follow your career path, what do you think you would have done? What else? Where would you be?
I would have been in entertainment. Originally, I was thinking about stand-up comedy.
Have you ever tried that?
No, I've never been on a stage doing it.
Why not?
My teachers always told me I was a clown. So
Yeah. Was that your senior superlative?
Yeah,
That sense of humor?
pretty much. Yeah. I wasn't always as confident as I was. I was very late bloomer as far as feeling confident. Probably didn't come until my late junior and senior year.
Mm-hmm.
But now, up and running, I feel good.
Isn't that the nice thing about getting older?
Yeah.
I talk to my kids. I'm like, you get to a certain age where you really just don't care what people think, and
Right.
you just do what you want,
Yeah.
and not worry about it.
So, but I've done some acting. Kind of like everybody else in Harford County. I've been on House of Cards.
Yeah.
I've been on the Howard Stern Show, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, Amazing Babies on the Discovery Health Channel for my daughter.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of little things there. So I think I would have either been in entertainment industry.
And now get the Guac podcast.
Yes, I mean this is probably among my biggest achievements
Lifestyles of the
right
Rich
now.
and
Yeah.
Famous, get
and
the
then
guac.
get the guac. Now for Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, it was only like an 8-second clip in the intro for Loretta Swit in Portofino, Italy, but I made it.
Yeah. Hey, you're in there.
yeah.
You can't take that from you.
But then I was actually when I was in college, I was studying psychology and sociology.
Yeah.
So somewhere in that field of helping people.
Okay. Pizza. Now you got New York, Italy, and the third most popular pizza place, Bel-Air, Maryland.
Right.
What's your favorite type of pizza?
All right. My favorite type of pizza is New York style pizza.
All right.
I think
I'm going to say, what is your favorite pizza place not in Harford County?
Okay.
I'm going to let you off the hook.
All right. I appreciate that. Favorite pizza place not in Harford County would probably be Prince Umberto's Pizza in Long Island.
Okay.
They've actually won Food Network contests, and their pizza is very legit. It's got the crispy crust. It can actually, there's one or two places around here that are very close to that.
All right. So go eat all the pizza in Harford County and be
Yeah,
the judge
do
of what
your
you
own
think
taste
it is.
test, because what I like doesn't mean that everybody else necessarily likes. I also enjoy a traditional Chicago deep dish.
Yeah.
I love that thick layer of sauce and that big cheese.
Right.
So I can go from thin to chunky.
All right. I'll leave that one
Yeah,
there.
we'll leave that.
All right. What is one Italian dish that you could eat every day?
Ooh. All right. I'll keep it in simple. I love chicken parm with spaghetti.
Chicken parm?
Yeah.
Do you ever get chicken parm on a sub?
Yeah, I do.
I have a good friend. He's all about the chicken parm subs.
Yeah.
That's everyone.
Now that is Americanized. I will tell you. In Italy, I've never seen a chicken parm.
Yeah?
Nope.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What is one word your friends would use to describe you?
Oh, well, pain in the ass is 3. Fun.
Fun. All right, Gio. Well, thank you so much for coming in. And where do we find you? We got WBEL-AIR and we have Fire and Ice Delights. Do you want to tell us how we can connect and follow along?
Sure. So we have Fire and Ice Delights 911@gmail.com. We're on Facebook. If you type in Fire and Ice Delights, you should see the little red dog. We got a bulldog with a bomb pop. That's our logo there. For WBEL, if you just type in @WBEL for WBEL-AIR TV News, we're on there. We're on Instagram. Sometimes we're building that platform.
Right.
And we're starting to upload some more content to YouTube, so that way we have the different platforms. Because of my other form of employment, I cannot have TikTok on my phones, so you will not see me on TikTok.
Same here,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I do love TikTok,
So,
though.
yeah, so I have to stay away from it. It's a rabbit hole for me anyway.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Gia, thanks for coming
Yeah,
in.
my pleasure.
This has been fun.
Thank you.
All right.